Hey everybody, welcome to the first episode of the CUNDA-CAST podcast. Our first guest today is Helyan, and I've been talking to this guy for a long time, and he really knows his stuff. So yeah, so this is going to be a show where people can come on, and it's going to be mainly focused on what the guests have to do, gives them a platform, and I just have fun talking about this stuff. So
So, hi everybody. I am Helyan. Like said, we've actually been talking for a while now. I've helped him out quite a bit. He's got a great setup going on now. So it's a pleasure being here.
yeah, so we were just talking about basically how far you to hang your lights up above your plants, but
Oh yeah, yes. So yeah, basically basically what we started talking about is the variations of, your lights and um how far each light needs to be from the plant differs from light to light. And what I was saying is each manufacturer, they'll manufacture their lights differently, and depending on the manufacturer as well, will depend on how bright their diodes are. So it depends on what kind of diodes they're using for their lights. I could be using the wrong terminology, so the electricians out there don't get on me too much. I'm just using general terms on that aspect.
yeah, so I know Bloom Plus, the XP series uses the newest Samsung diodes, but the
Yes,
BP series uses older ones. So like you said that
correct.
you use the BP series and use XP series. So how did those work together?
Um, well, it's actually quite nice, believe it or not, because uh, the PPFD readings are not too far off. And the power usage between the lights are pretty decent. I'm getting through the between the BP 3000 and the XP 3000, I'm actually getting a roughly 15% less power draw, but the same light output, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
So, the XP series is definitely built better without sacrificing any light. In fact, they produce probably a little bit better light than the BPs just from the dials that they've used. But I mean, they're great though. Um, the one thing I've learned, because with this new setup that I have going on right now, it's my first time using both the BP 3000 and the XP 3000 together. So one thing I'm learning now is even at the lowest setting, both of those lights together is too powerful for seedlings. They burn seedlings bad.
yeah,
So, that's something I had to learn though.
yeah,
And but it's funny to see the like you were saying the difference. Like I have Vivison 1000s, two of those lights, and I could have both of those lights up at 50%, uh, darn near next to a seedling, and then it wouldn't burn the seedlings.
yeah,
As where the Bloom Plus lights, man, I had them almost maxed to the top, and they were still burning the seedlings. So I'm gonna have to learn how to adjust the brightness and the power as my plants continue to grow into the vegetative state.
yeah. You know what you could do is take one of them out, I guess, and then leave the other one at 25%.
I would that would be a solution, and that is actually a solution I thought about. but I hate fighting. The way the lights are set up,
Yeah,
it's I'd have to fight the tent, and I don't want to tear any holes in my tent right now. So,
yeah. And
um,
doesn't Bloom Plus do they do the daisy chain? So like, are those daisy chained up?
yeah,
Oh yeah, nice.
yep.
Yeah. So I guess it would be a pain. Well, wait. So what happens if you took the daisy chain one out? Would that
Um,
be easier or harder?
well, it wouldn't be easier nor harder. It would
Yeah.
it's where the lights are hanging. That's the pain in the ass part,
Yeah.
really, because I got
Mhm.
wire wire hangers. They're like miniature wire ropes made
Yeah.
out of stainless steel, and I got them hanging on the corners of the tent. So in order for me to take one of the lights down, I got to take that steel cable and disconnect it from the corner.
Yeah. So what if you just turn one off completely?
Um, Believe it or not, still too powerful.
Dang.
Yeah. Yep, because I tried that with my last set of seedlings that I put in there. I actually turned my right light off, which is the XP, and
Yep.
left the BP on 25%, and it was still. I mean, those are some powerful lights, powerful lights.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a 100 watt that I usually throw in there with seedlings now, but I can't imagine if I had both the um 300 watts on. That would
Oh,
that would be
oh
bad.
yeah,
So I
definitely.
wonder, uh, so what are you thinking of a solution to fix it?
Basically, what I did is right now I actually have a uh, sea seed tray um, that I have right now. I think six or eight. I got 8 purple panty droppers in there, or no, not purple panty droppers. They are uh, yeah, crap. What are they? I got them downstairs. They're by Samsara Seeds. Spiritual Punk. So I got some of their seeds going right now,
Hmm.
and they're popping out now. I planted them 2 days ago. They're starting to come out now. I'm already starting to see the cracked seeds pushing through the top. And what I did is I have them inside a dome. So it's got constant humidity. Plus, it's on the heat mat, so it stays at roughly 76 to 78 degrees. And then I also have I bought myself at Walmart just a daylight brightness 92 or 95 watt uh little, just small little garage light. It's
Yeah.
only 95 watts. It's 950 lumens. So it's not a powerful light at all.
Yeah.
But I mean, seedlings once they pop out of the ground and the you start seeing some sun leaves starting to come out. Not true leaves, but the sun leaves that start taking in and starting the photosynthesis. They're the very, very first 2 to 4 sets of leaves that come out after the cotyledons come out. Um, once those start to show up, they don't need a lot of light.
Yeah.
So, I actually have a friend up in Wisconsin. He grows via moonlight with some of his seedlings. So his seedlings are constantly getting some sort of light, and they'll grow to the vegetative state fairly fine, even with moonlight.
Yeah. So I was so my exhaust fan crapped out, and
Uh,
I feel like a lot of people are like you like, oh, without that exhaust fan, like how are you gonna grow and stuff? And I've grown without exhaust fans. Like I started in my closet with like a little
Yeah.
desk fan, and
Eh,
like
that's an old wives' tale, that you need an exhaust fan. Now, it depends on your situation, though.
yeah,
Sometimes an exhaust fan is kind of needed. So, like, for example, my specific area of Texas, um, we get upwards of over 100 degrees, and my setup's out in my garage.
yeah,
So, when it gets up to 90 and 100 degrees, that tent's getting fairly hot itself.
yeah,
So, what I end up doing is I exhaust it from my tent into a uh uh carbon filter,
yeah,
and then it goes. So with my new setup, the way I have it now, it goes through a carbon filter inside a lung box, and from the lung box, uh through pressure, will get blown through a secondary uh exhaust pipe out through another um charcoal filter, then out of the house, and it eliminates the smell almost completely.
yeah, yeah. I guess that's one of the good things about New York besides the winters. They suck real bad. But
Yeah.
when it hits summer, it doesn't really go over, I'd say about 86. It usually
Hmm.
stays around like 70s and stuff. So, I mean, I won't have to run the heater once it hits there, but it like regular
Right.
temperature is so much easier. And mine is in my garage too, which the garage, I think in the summer the highest temperature I was probably dealing with was like 87.
Oh yeah. Which, I mean, 87 is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
For me, I with my setup, the one thing that's bad about that, and this is why I have to have an exhaust, because I use my exhaust for cooling the tent as opposed to air circulation. Mine is more for cooling. So I have, an exhaust at the top of my tent, and it blows the hot air up and out, as opposed to, back into the bottom, where it can just heat the air back up. Um so I have to have that tent exhausted of the hot air, and to help, what that will also help is when I need to run my uh portable AC unit that I have in there.
Hmm.
If I have to run it when I exhaust my tent, it helps, prevent the AC from overworking as well. Because, I mean, that AC unit's trying to cool a container inside a container, essentially, is what it is. So as the outer container warms up, the inner container is going to start warming up even faster.
Yeah.
So it kind of helps keep everything nice and cool, and it helps prevent me from overworking my AC unit. Um, because, man, that thing's gonna draw a lot of freaking power.
Yeah. And the thing that sucks about uh our garage doesn't have power, so I have to run a power strip, and that
Oof.
yeah, it sucks because you have to have one that won't kick off constantly, and then you have to rearrange all the cords so it doesn't kick off constantly.
Yep.
But I found like a way that it doesn't kick off. But I think of like this summer we are getting power in there, so that would be great.
Yeah, that would be nice. I mean, if I wasn't renting my house and I had my house bought, man,
Yeah.
I got a few friends that I used to work with as a plumber. I used to be a plumber, and we worked alongside electricians. Man, I just, buy a pack of beer and say, hey, pack a beer, pizza. I'll buy the equipment. Help me run a few new lines, and I'd have at least two separate lines on
Hmm.
two separate two separate circuits for the garage. That way you don't constantly trip a circuit. You can have, a certain amount of draw from one circuit and then a certain amount of draw from the other circuit split up evenly so that you're not overdoing the circuit breakers.
Yeah.
Because that's an issue I'm running into is I do have power out in my garage, but I gotta watch how much I plug in because the circuit is only a 25, I think 20, yeah, 25 amp circuit, and I need I think 80 amp circuit
Hmm.
for running my setup the way I used to run it.
So how is
Because what I
the
lived at, oh, go ahead.
so how is the new setup after besides the light burn from the lights, obviously?
Believe it or not, man, it's this is a very wonderful setup. So even though I don't have my cannabis plants up and running yet, I have a pepper plant in there.
Hmm.
It's sweet banana peppers.
Yeah.
Um, it was a lot bigger, but I was trying to bend the main branch and snapped the main branch completely off on the pepper plant.
Yeah.
So it kind of shrunk it down a little bit, but it still has a pepper growing on there. And man, that pepper's getting big for banana pepper.
Yeah.
It's getting a very nice size. And then I also have a lemon balm plant in there. And one thing nice about the lemon balm plant is it lets me know ahead of time if I have water deficiency.
Yeah.
So like right now I have an iron deficiency, which is something I'm fixing with aquarium iron or iron that you add to planted aquariums, which is just basically iron chelate in liquid form. But but because I have an iron deficiency, I know I can correct that now before it hits any of my other plants because the lemon balm is actually going to be a kind of early tell. It'll let you know before any other plants if there's a deficiency that's in the water. Um, and then at the same time, because I'm growing dual root, um, that lemon balm when it warns me about something, the fact that I'm growing in a dual root system, that soil, if it has to, it'll pick up the slack from what the water is not providing. So if I have say another iron deficiency later on down the line, before it hits my to prevent it from hitting my plants as well, because the cannabis plant's a very demanding plant, especially in flower. The plant will use its roots that are in the soil to draw iron from to make up for the lack of iron inside the water. So it gives me a better chance to fix the um, deficiency in the water before it starts to affect the plant. It's real cool to learn all this stuff when you're actually physically doing it and seeing how the system actually works.
Yeah. And talk about how you've been working towards the hydroponic store.
Um, it's a work in progress. I'm still doing research on things I can do to uh, obtain the financial means
Yeah.
Um, because where I'm at, it's when you pay rent,
Yeah.
you pay rent for the whole year. You don't pay rent for month to month.
Yeah.
So that kind of helps you out, kind of get yourself established at least.
Yeah.
Um, so we're me and my wife, we're working on, crunching the numbers and trying to figure out, how much we're going to actually need to ask for when the time comes for us to open up the shop. I'm also going to be going through a program um, that is a veteran-led entrepreneurial, um, I guess, class. It's not really a certificate,
Yeah.
but they will actually help you open up your business and help you run the business for the first year.
Yeah, it sounds
So,
really helpful.
oh yeah. So that's not until, this summer though.
Yeah. Yeah, uh I've noticed when going to hydroponic stores it's always the same like brands and stuff like soil brands and all that. And it's like um I feel like they don't really carry any of the stuff that I use almost. Like not that I would like I feel like they carry stuff that caters to new growers almost. And if
Yeah,
not if like you get really into it and it's like you start learning about like kind of hidden brands almost.
yeah,
Kind of like I feel I don't know if Nature's Living Soil is in hydroponic stores, but I don't think I've seen it. And it's like one of those hidden things that
yeah.
yeah,
I've seen, I think I've seen it in a hydroponic store where I used to live at. Nature's Living Soil. They had Nature's Living Soil. They had the Happy Frog brand. They had Down to Earth.
yeah,
They even started carrying the Canadian brand, Gaia Green.
yeah. Is it do you think it has to do with sales? Do you think since those other brands are more popular that they end up carrying them because it's something people see and they're like, "Oh, I know that brand." And so I'd buy that, but I won't buy this because I've never heard of it before.
Um, I mean it's the industry really.
Yeah.
You got some brands that are catching on quicker
Yeah.
than other brands right now, but you also have newer brands that are coming out that are actually catching on fairly quick, especially in the organic side of things. Using, liquid organics like worm casting teas and compost teas and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And utilizing even like the crack key methods with organics. You're starting to see some of these smaller companies starting to kind of get more of the recognition now, especially in the organics.
Yeah. So when how much like how much do you think hydroponic stores cater to living soil? I feel like they don't cater to it as much as
I think it's like a small percentage. I'd say upwards of 25% roughly of their business is going to be soil, organic, living soil.
yeah.
Um, Now, there's something interesting for me is I actually live near a aquaponics store.
Yeah.
So the organic side of things is actually quite opposite. For them, the hydro is more along the lines of uh, 45% of their sales,
Mhm.
and a majority of their sales is they have like actual worms, like the Canadian earthworms and the red worms that really help with composting and help with living soil. They have that. They have dirt, and then of course they have their aquaponics system setups.
Mm,
Um, so if I guess it would depend on how you have your store set up. So like the aquaponics store, I think would probably cater more towards your organics than a hydroponic store. And then of course you're starting to see more organic type stores popping up too, where they sell uh, more along the lines of organics than they do hydroponics now too.
yeah,
Um, and I think they just call themselves grow stores. I don't think they really call themselves hydroponic stores.
yeah. I feel like I feel like salt-based nutrients is so is much more popular is because I feel like when you get into it, people are when you ask, "Oh, how do these people get these humongous buds?" And people are like, "Oh, they probably used since I can't even say the word."
Synthetic.
Yeah, synthetic nutrients. So people get the wrong idea and they're like, "Oh, that must mean that the salt-based nutrients are better than doing this organically."
Well, the for me, salt-based nutrients has its place. I think I do believe they're slightly overused because you're starting to see areas with over salinated um, soil.
Hmm.
So there's too much salt in the soil,
Yeah.
which is the caveat to using salt-based nutrients. Um, so for me, I lost track of what I was saying. Good Lord, man, that's yeah. I got some flour from a friend of mine, and he's like, oh no, it's a mid, man. It's a mid, man. This shit's smoking like a freaking man. I feel like I got hit by a freight train. Jeez, this is actually one of the strains I've been trying to grow.
What is it?
Purple panty dropper.
Oh yeah.
Man, I feel stupid. Uh, you know, I've helped so many people out with identifying light burn,
Yeah.
and then when I'm doing it to myself, I don't even catch it. I don't catch it until after the fact, and it's like, oh,
Well,
shit.
I feel
All
like
right.
it's also I feel like it's also the fact that you'd move to a new system and so it's like, oh, and then you get a bunch of stuff in your head like, oh, was it this and was it this and
Yeah.
but then like
Uh,
it all comes down to the most simple thing in the
and
end.
that's exactly what it was too. Um, like even in the apartment, man, I was having the same issue, and it just never occurred to me, that it was just the lights. The lights are just too
Yeah.
strong, even at a low setting. They're just too strong, and seedlings just couldn't handle that amount.
Yeah.
Um,
For
so now
me,
that I've learned,
yeah. Yeah, for
you were
me
gonna.
it's like so a lot of deficiencies to me kind of look the same and when people post like a picture and say, "What is this?" I don't think they understand that they need to give you more of an explanation, which I when I started, I've done that because I didn't know either. And
Oh yeah,
they need to like it can't just look at a photo and I mean it could be like so many deficiencies look the same that it could be any of those.
Hmm.
And like I feel like when you ask them when you ask them like all this stuff, it may they don't answer, which makes me wonder if it overwhelmed them to the point where it's like, hey, what are you feeding? What's your pH? What's going on? Which I feel like, well, I don't. For me, pH, because I'm running living soil and my pH doesn't come out. My pH comes out at 6.8, so it's not really a problem for me.
Right.
But it's like, what
Well,
is your pH and stuff?
yeah. The funny thing is, like for my system, my system's pH is it fluctuates between 6.8 to 7.0.
Yeah.
When the temperature fluctuates, my pH kind of fluctuates a little bit with it. And it obviously it's because I got living organisms literally dictating the temperature of helping dictate the temperature of the water.
Hmm.
Um, so my pH will fluctuate depending on the temperature of the water. Um, so I sit at roughly 6.8 to 7.0, and I will still, because before I moved, I had a plant that was actually going really, really strong, and I had nitrogen toxicity.
Yeah. And I with living soil, you really can't do much with that.
Exactly.
But I also feel like um since I've been running this, I feel like I've noticed it's so much easier because you don't see as much newt burn because it kind of just does it all itself. And with like synthetics, still can't say the word. Uh, I feel like it's really hard to cut back enough to where you don't see newt burn on your leaves. And by the time you get newt burn on your leaves, it's not going to recover except for new growth that comes in. But
Yeah.
with living soil, I don't really notice any newt burn on my leaves.
Yeah, it's when it comes to living soil, you're really not. You'll get toxicities before you get actual nuke burns.
Yeah.
That's the cool thing is it's kind of the plant slowly telling you, hey, you're giving me a bit too much.
Yeah.
As where with your salt-based or synthetic nutrients, it hits so quickly because I mean the plant's going to take it up because it's readily available. So it's like giving your plant crack.
Yeah.
It's going to feed on it. So if you get too much in there, it's going to let you know really really fast, and that's where you get like your nutrient lockouts and stuff like that.
Yeah. I've also heard
As
I've heard uh I don't know if this would be a theory, but that companies that do sell the salt-based nutrients, their schedule actually portrays more than what you actually have to feed your plants because they think it's because they want your your nutrients to run out, so you have to buy more from them.
Yeah, no, I definitely see that being a tactic. Definitely see that being a tactic. Would be surprised in the least. I mean, I have a friend who used to live in Oklahoma. His he used salt-based nutrients, and he never put in the full amount ever. I think when he starts out, say if he's taking a clone, he'll start out at like 10% of what they tell you
Hmm.
and then adjust from there. And then as it gets more into the vegetative state and getting closer to flipping into flower, he only adjusts upwards of I think the most he puts in is 25% of what they recommend. And his stuff turns out real nice.
Yeah.
So I mean I wouldn't doubt that that's what they try to do just to try to get you to buy more of their stuff in bigger increments.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I think every time I've followed a schedule, it's always ended up leading to newt burn,
hmm
and you have to always cut back.
yeah, I remember seeing some of that, some of those pictures.
Yeah, but with this, it's been going so smoothly, besides the power, of course, cutting off.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been going good. And then Inkbird's controllers have been helping me so much. It's insane how much less I have to go out there all the time because those are
Oh
on.
yeah.
And
Oh
the
yeah. No, having those, I mean, even for me, it's been a lifesaver. Because having a grow bed that is 4 foot by 2 foot filled with lava rock.
yeah,
The humidity,
yeah,
good lord, the evaporation was getting real bad, and I actually figured out a way to combat that without having algae growth on the stone, and that is to cover it with a. So I covered the grow bed with a painter's tarp or painter's plastic, and wherever I put my plants, I just cut out that small little area,
yeah,
and I wrap pot, the potted plant, around the plastic, so the plastic's around the potted plant
yeah.
or the pot of the plant.
That also probably helps your soil not dry out as fast too, since it.
Yeah, actually, this is something that was before I moved because my one plant was actually pretty well established inside
Mhm,
the one grow bed. Because if you remember my old setup, I had the two separate grow bed tubs.
mhm.
So the one plant that was actually doing really well, and man, I wish I didn't have to get rid of it because we had to move, but um, the roots were really deep into that grow bed, and the interesting thing is it the root system regulated the moisture of the soil.
Yeah,
So it got once the root system established itself into the water or into the flood and drain bed,
mhm.
it the roots will actually regulate the um, water content of the soil. And my readers, once the root system got into it, my moisture readers for the soil never dropped below 32%. My soil stayed at 32%. I didn't have to water the soil anymore.
Mhm. And you don't have to water the soil anyways, right? You get that hooked up to your tank. Or
Um, so initially, yes, I will have to water the soil.
okay.
It's not until the roots hit the water system
Okay, yeah.
that it will regulate the. Now, if I were to not do a dual root system and do a wicking system, which is pretty much you put the pot in a little bit deeper, and as water raises, it'll kiss the bottom of the. Uh, I put grow mats on the bottom of my pots so that the roots can grow through the grow mats. They used it. They use grow mats with uh, what's that called? That farming micro farming called where you grow sprouts. Um,
Um, um, God, I can't remember.
yeah, so it's those types of mats that you just throw seeds on and seeds will grow through the mats and you just pretty much water them.
Yeah,
So I have that separates the soil from the lava rock so that I don't leach out soil.
yeah.
If I were to bury that deeper where the top of the water kisses that seedling mat that I put in the bottom of my pot,
Mhm.
that's that turns that into a wicking system to which then the soil will actually draw water from that. But when you have it as a dual root system, you actually get better water regulating or regulation
Yeah.
because they have that dry space. So it's actually the root system that regulates the moisture, and that way the plant doesn't end up with flooding issues.
Yeah. I've that vetch that vetch that I have growing. You said it was viney, but I did not know it was this viney. Like it's grappling on everything.
Oh yeah, yep,
It
yeah.
wants
I've had it when I was growing the uh was one of my plants last year. I had the vetch growing in the actual net alongside the buds or alongside the branches until the plant went into flower and then started taking too much nutrients from the vetch, so it
yep.
started dying back. But yeah,
So
it'll grow everywhere.
so when it gets in when your plants get in the flower, should you cut your cover crops?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would. Um, at least give it a trim. That way, your system gets a boost of nitrogen.
Yeah. Yeah, so just cut back the vetch almost.
Yep.
Okay. Because I was wondering when I should cut my cover crop. So like,
I usually do it about 2 weeks before
yeah.
flipping into flower because it
So
takes about 2 weeks for it to start to break down.
so I was think oh, so like leave it on the top of the soil so it breaks down into the okay.
hmm
So
Yep.
so this is a cool thing. So after I harvest and everything, I cut back all the cover crop and basically I'm probably going to use Nature's Living Soil again, and when I mix all that together, it will it just keep getting more nutrient rich, like the more I do this?
Yeah. I mean, it. I mean, the nutrients. It's not that it becomes more nutrient rich. The theory behind it is you are developing a biological system of bacteria and fungus.
Yeah,
So when it comes to uh, the breakdown of plant matter, the breakdown of brown matter, the breakdown of anything that's in the system,
yeah,
um, it's you're increasing bacteria, uh, you're increasing fungal actions, and that network is what helps facilitate, what the plant wants to take up or what the plant needs to take up, and it creates a more natural balance.
mm. I've I've noticed uh some of the reviews that I find hilarious when you're looking at living soil products is that they talk about I've noticed mold and it's like well and they're like so I'm not using the product because I don't do mold. I'm like, what do you mean you bought a living soil product? There's going to be beneficial mold.
Yeah, it's beneficial mycelium. They'll yeah, I've seen a lot of people, they say the same thing, and it's like, no, that's actually what you want. You want that in your soil.
Yeah,
It's like it's just like springtails.
yeah,
Um, a lot of people will say, "Oh no, you don't want springtails in your soil." And it's like, no, actually, they kind of help break down decaying matter.
yeah. I've had springtails in my cocoa before, actually. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
I actually I won a giveaway on 420 for God. It's a Petra Tools product. It's for bugs, which I thought I wanna one of their God, what are they called? Their sprayers? Is that what they're called? I don't know. But it was 32 ounces of something for bugs, which I'll probably use for outdoors. But I've
Hmm.
never used anything from them before, but I have heard of them.
What are their names again?
Petra Tools.
Oh, Petra. Ooh, I mean they're big into um, but I don't know them too much, so I'm not gonna say I really agree or disagree, but I believe they're more into the um chemical style um pesticides, insecticides, and whatnot. I don't think their stuff is bacteria based or organic based,
Yeah,
where they use bacteria or beneficial insects or beneficial fungus or whatever.
yeah. Which I'll probably use it for outdoors then. I don't really spray anything on my plants indoors.
Yeah.
Um, but I guess moths are pretty bad outdoors, so I will use that. But it was a crop defender, I think. That's what it was.
Uh,
Yeah. Which actually when I sex tested my plants, the guy who was doing it for me said asked me if I was using IBMs or IPMs. Yeah, yeah, IPMs, and I was like, no, I don't spray anything on my plants.
yeah. If I mean doing organics, the most I would spray on my plants is like a vinegar solution, a light vinegar solution,
Yeah,
or you could do, apple cider vinegar is a good one because of the probiotics in it, and
yeah,
it actually helps the plant out. Or you could do, a lot of people will do neem oil.
yeah.
Um,
And when I
but I
say
mean, there's organic ways to spray things.
yeah, and when I
Um,
say I don't spray anything on my plants, I mean like I don't spray any chemicals on my plants.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Like I used to spray um kelp, I think. Or what
Oh yeah,
yeah.
kelp.
Yeah. On my leaves I did when the lights were off. Um or like when the lights were about to turn off. But I don't think I've sprayed anything on my plants since I started this because I haven't noticed any deficiencies or really anything. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
I am gonna start adding diatomaceous earth for the silicone though to the not to the leaves but to the soil.
oh yeah. Well, I mean the diatomaceous earth is just good to have in general because believe it or not, it doesn't necessarily kill your if you have beneficial uh spider mites
Yeah,
like you have if you have like soil spider soil mites or predatory mites,
yeah,
um especially your predatory mites. If you have predatory mites, diatomaceous earth doesn't necessarily kill all those guys.
yeah. Should I top dress with it or should I mix it in with my water?
I mean, it's a debate on what you can do. I'm not partial to either.
Yeah,
What I just sprinkle it on top mainly for fungus gnats. With me living next to a river, I got fungus gnats up the wall, so
yeah,
I have to. I'm actually starting to use sand now. So once I get these new seedlings transferred, to keep the fungus gnats out, I'm gonna actually top the pots with sand.
yeah. I live near a bunch of trees, so I got caterpillars up the wall.
Ooh.
Yeah, they
Yeah, same here. We got a lot of trees too. We have a snail issue.
Oh yeah.
Lord, we got snails.
Snails. I haven't seen a snail in a while. I haven't seen a slug in a while, really. I don't know why. Um, I feel like next time when I do mix everything together with the Nature's Living soil, I'm thinking of adding worms to it for the week or the 2 weeks that I am doing it, so they can break down. Like I when I added the boiled onions and stuff to it, I feel like that they
Hmm.
would when I actually took them out to put into my pots, they weren't as broken down as I wanted them to be. So I feel like the worms would help
Oh yeah,
way more.
definitely. Especially if you get red wrigglers. Those are great composting worms. Canadian night crawlers are great composting worms.
You can just get the red regulars at Walmart, right? As bait.
Yeah, yeah, I think yeah. Make sure they're not jumping worms though.
Yeah. So
So,
so I don't have a
'cause
bunch of
you
worms all over my tent
right?
jumping out of my pot. Um, can't you or if I can't find them, can't you order them online?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can order them online.
Yeah, I just ordered
Uh,
I ordered their girl flower power, which I haven't really seen what it has in it, but I'm hoping that actually makes my bud growth explode, which it is all organic, and I haven't used an organic um bud enhancer before. What's
right.
usually in organic bud enhancers? Probably an organic phosphorus
Um,
booster, right?
yeah, it's gonna be a kick in phosphorus and potassium both. Um, so you're looking at your P and K. Your K is probably going to be boosted a little bit more in a flower booster.
Yeah. So it's probably also going to add microbes uh
Yep.
that do a better job at converting
Yeah. Um.
phosphorus and potassium.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, it'll add um different microbes to your system, but I mean, it's not going to change the microbe setup too much.
Yeah. Okay, I'm on the
Um.
page. It says it includes meat from the heart of hemp seed, uh coconut
Mhm.
water powder, pumpkin seed meal, bat guano, fish bone meal, alfalfa meal, and essential vitamins, amino acids, and minerals, specifically formulated for needs of flowering plant.
Yeah. So it's they're just basically using what adding into soil what the plant really wants during flower,
Yeah,
um, and making it just more available for the plant to have
yeah,
than what it could have when you're going through the vegetative cycle.
yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I'll have
So
to.
I mean, it doesn't sound too bad. I don't know where they're uh, potassium and phosphorus from, but
Yeah. Usually when you get the bag, it shows way more stuff that's actually added in it than what it says
yeah.
on the website. Like when I got the original, there was like a paragraph of stuff, and it smelled. It reeked. It was the most rancid smelling stuff I've ever smelled before.
Yummy.
It was probably from the blood meal, but
Yep. Oh yeah, blood meal is. Oh man, that stuff smells nasty, nasty.
when you look it up, you could see why.
Oh yeah.
That then you see why it smells like something died in there.
Oh yeah. Because it's literally from blood.
Yeah. It's the leftover stuff they have from butchering animals, but they do offer for the people they do offer a vegan option, so
Yes.
I noticed why they do offer vegan options because I can see why people would have a problem with that. Um
Yeah. I mean, at least they're using all of the animal. They're
yeah,
not,
yeah. That's how plants grow in nature anyways. You die, you decompose into the ground, and
Yep.
yeah. So I mean, I don't see a problem with it, but maybe the way it's conducted. I don't know. Uh, so you got anything else going on recently?
Um, I mean, not at the current moment. Just now that I have everything set up, actually have just checked on my seeds a minute ago. Um, you know, a few of them are already coming through because I'm using Root Riot plugs. They're already
Yeah,
starting to come through the well, bottom of the plug because I flip them upside down when I put them into the grow the grow thing,
yeah,
the grow tray. Um, but they're starting to come through the bottom of the grow plugs, and they're looking pretty healthy.
yeah,
And I mean, I got a really dim light, so they shouldn't be getting light burn no more. And hopefully, it'll actually prevent them from stretching too,
yeah. One of the
because
great things about I feel like about I don't know, knowing people and stuff is that like if you I feel like you have a big vault of seeds almost, and it's like if you mess anything up, you always have something to fall back on. One of the good things is having a big vault of seeds.
yep.
And so what did you start out with originally that ended up wasn't it? Oh, you had Seedsman seeds, wasn't it?
One was a Seedsman seed, and the other one was a Humboldt
Oh
seed.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
now you have
Samsara seeds.
yep,
One of their genetics. It is their. I said it earlier before. Spiritual punk.
yep,
And I've had their spiritual punk. A friend of mine, the friend that used to live in Oklahoma, he uh he used to grow that one quite a bit. And man, it's flavorful. It is potent. It doesn't. It's not short lived. It lingers nicely, and it both helps with my pain and my insomnia. So
yeah.
it's a nice night smoke for me.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the people I see, if you're like really into it, I feel like their journey is literally finding the perfect strain for their needs. And how close have you found like what is the strain that you feel like fits all your needs?
So I have a few of them. Purple panty dropper is another one. Um, which is I believe that one's a seed. No, that one's a Humboldt seed.
Yeah.
Um, but purple panty droppers, another one of the other ones that work well for me. It helps me with focus. Um, it's not much for insomnia, but like for energy, I get a good amount of energy off of it. Um, there's these seeds that I got going now, the spiritual punk. That one I love for nighttime smokes. And then Seedsman, their peyote Wi-Fi.
Yep.
Man, or no, their peyote gorilla is the one that I grew out. Their peyote gorilla is really, really nice for, just a daytime smoke. Or if you want to use it to go to bed, you can actually use it to help you sleep as well. So it's a nice medium for me for both the daytime and nighttime smokes.
Yeah. Yeah, the
What about you? What you got?
um recently it's I well I did get those new lights and I sold my old one on Facebook Marketplace to and honestly selling stuff on Facebook Marketplace. I had three people who messaged me about it that didn't even like that I waited for to respond because they were the first people. And then the first guy said uh said he'd come get it and he actually talked me down in price. And then I said, "Hey, I need to sell this like tomorrow because it's been a week by then." And then he was like, "You do you, dog." And I was like, "Okay." So then I went on to the second guy who then told me that it wasn't worth that price. I was like, "What?" And then finally I met this cool guy who actually came down, he bought it, and I've actually been helping him out with some stuff, uh getting started and everything. And it does suck because we don't have any hydroponic stores near us, so there isn't like all the soil you'd either have to order online or go an hour away to get. But um he found some locally sourced organic soil, which I don't know how well that's gonna work though. But he said he's into the learning experience, so maybe that will be a learning experience. I've basically just been focusing on that tent, and I'm trying to make this my well the my best yield so far, which I've actually been wondering how I'm going to do the trellis net with my fan and my heater in there.
You just go around them.
Go around them.
Hmm.
Okay. But the fan, it's a tower fan, it's oscillating. Would it leave enough room for it to oscillate still?
Oh, I wouldn't go right up next to it. I would probably where if you have that fan in a corner,
Yeah.
I would give it a good, because your squares are probably what 3 by 3 or 6 by 6.
Uh, maybe what?
The trellis net, the
Oh,
spacing, the square spacings,
um, God, it's an AC Infinity net, so
probably 6 by 6 then.
yeah, yeah, this is the one I got. It is, um, where? Why is it not telling me? What are what are are they called apertures? Is that what they're called? Is that the scientific name for them? Or what are they called? The little squares. I know that's what they're
Oh,
called in in mesh, but
yeah, they'd be considered apertures.
they would.
Yeah,
Okay, what size are the squares? Okay, they're 4.5 by 4.5.
4.5 by 4.5.
Yep.
Okay. So what I would do is I would leave a square if it's in the corner and the fan takes up one square itself.
Yeah.
I would leave a square around it. I wouldn't go that much closer, otherwise you'll suffer wind damage.
Yeah. And then
Um,
uh so so okay, so the net is it has stretch to it. So
mhm.
it kind of like forms almost like a dip on each side, kind of like a U-shaped dip when it
Yeah.
stretches out. I wonder if I could put it in that dip if that has enough room.
Yeah, that's. I mean, that'd be a fine place too.
Yeah, but I don't know if I'd be able to oscillate the fan,
Mm.
if I would be able to move. But the heater should be fine. I think the dip does have enough space for the heater. But yeah, after I put the trellis knit on, probably give it like a week, maybe two, and then it's gonna be the first time I've done this. I'm going to lollipop, so I'm gonna cut everything lower. That's coming
Oh,
off.
okay.
Yeah.
So you're gonna go high stress training, lollipop, possibly. What's it called when they go from the fifth node down to the second node?
Um. Uh. I can't. I don't know.
Yeah, I can't remember what they call it, but yeah.
Yeah. So far, all I've done is topped each plant once, and then I've just been tying it down. I've been tying them down about like probably once every 2 days to keep everything nice and even, especially with the clone growing up. I'm trying to let that catch up more. But
Oh yeah.
I feel like I should just explode in growth anytime now. It's been it's actually I think its roots are established now to the point where it can start growing because it has been growing a lot faster. I've topped that too, and the two shoots are coming up pretty nice. So I just gotta wait until that grows, and I can just add that trellis net in there. But like
Hey, there you go.
the last picture I sent you, um, that's actually way more filled out now than that,
Oh, cool.
so it's way more plateaued.
That's good.
But I think the best looking or my favorite looking plant, not the best looking, they all look good, is probably that Super Sativa Seed Club, that sour tangy dog.
Oh yeah.
And I think it may just be because I like sativa structures more. I don't know, but she's
I
looking
like
good.
colors. I like colors of the plant.
Yeah. She's she's growing faster, I feel like, but I've noticed that her newer leaves are way more yellow than the other ones. Not like yellow than like nitrogen deficiency, but like as a new leaf, and then they
Oh
grow in and
yeah.
then they become darker green, but I don't know what that is, um but I the darkest green has to be that LBR X Cherry Tooth cross. And then everything looks healthy though, but these Inkbird controllers have been keeping VPD pretty nice, and yeah, that's pretty much all I have going on. I don't really do much to them. Nature's Living Soil did give me their soil revival, so I mix that in every second feed. I mix it in, introduces more
Beneficial
microbes,
bacteria.
yep, and
Yeah.
bacteria and all that.
Yep.
And then I do have teas, some fungal teas stored in my fridge, so I'll add that sometime.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, so that's really all I've been adding to her. I think I added CalMag like maybe like half of a 16th once.
Yeah, just kind of as an emergency.
Yeah, because I thought one was looking like it, but I think that was just a plant.
Oh,
Yeah, so
oh wow.
that's really everything.
I just checked on my seeds that were starting to come up. Uh, from the time that we started this talk to now,
Hmm.
uh, they've already actually popped completely out.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so
they pop really fast. I feel like you walk away for like a second and you come back and they're already through the soil.
I know, right?
I think when I started, I think I planted all my seeds a little too deep, and then a lot of them didn't come up, and I think that was the problem because when I swapped them out and I planted them like fingernail deep, they all came up almost.
Yeah.
But the ones that did come up, they're pretty strong.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you gave him enough to anchor down to.
I think the two that did come up, I'm actually running two of the ones that did come up. Oh no, three of
Oh,
the
cool.
ones. I'm running three of the ones, and then the last
Oh,
one's a
nice.
clone. So I guess I'm running all the ones. But but it's so weird because then I discarded a bunch of the seeds that didn't pop. I gave them 2 weeks, didn't pop, so I discarded them into my living soil totes, mixed them up, and then when I filled the buckets or the fabric pots, they
There they were.
grew. Yeah, they grew through the soil, and I bet you those were about like whoa, a couple of inches deep by then. I'm like, what the? Oh, how? You wouldn't grow what I planted you an inch deep, but now you're like halfway down through a 5 gallon pot and you're gonna leach your way up through. And it makes sense.
Right.
I don't know what they didn't like.
Yeah, it's funny. These seeds can be very, very temperamental.
Maybe they just wanted to be planted deeper.
Yeah, they needed a fight.
Yeah, it's like I knew they were deep because when I pulled them out, their stem was like super deep into the soil and then their roots started like halfway. I was like, what the heck?
It's,
Yeah, and I didn't even know what strains those were at that point. I was like,
oh
okay.
man.
And I did tr it's hard to take. I did try to take them out to the point where I could salvage the root and they could grow. Yeah, that didn't work out so well because they were so deep in there. So, but I
Yeah.
only have room for four plants. Or well, I mean you can fit more in there, but I'm comfortable with four in a 4x4.
Oh yeah. No, it's 4x4. I man, I was always trying to do two,
Two.
1 to 2, and a four my 4x4 that I used to have.
Yeah. I was
Shoot my.
actually
Oh,
I
go ahead.
nope, you can keep going. I was gonna say I actually was gonna do five, but I didn't have as much soil as I initially thought I did. That's
Ah, gotcha.
that's all I was gonna say though. I actually ended up having to go out front um of my garage where I had pots from last outdoor grow that I had soil in that was just I was gonna throw away. And I ended up taking soil out of that and mixing it with the Nature's Living soil. And I guess it converted it pretty well.
Hey, it'll work. I mean, it's not like it wouldn't work. So that's definitely something that would work. You just revitalized it. That's pretty much all you did.
Yeah, I guess it's all comes down to how well the microbes adapt to it, which
Exactly.
which have been rained on a bunch of times. Um, if if I were to use that Nature's Living soil and I were to just basically take soil from my ground and maybe put some perlite in it for draining and then put that in it, would the microbes establish themselves in that?
Yeah. I mean, all you're doing is just adding. It's not like they're gonna try to outcompete each other.
Yeah,
If a certain microbe's no longer needed, obviously that microbe's gonna go away.
yeah,
Doesn't mean it doesn't come back. It's just it pretty much it's almost like going dormant.
yeah. So why isn't just soil from like the earth like why isn't used as much? I feel why don't people use that instead of going to the store and buying a $30 bag of soil?
I guess ease of use.
Ease of
I mean,
use. Yeah.
if you look at it, not everybody's soil is going to be the same.
Yeah.
I mean, shoot, you go 5 feet from any direction, the soil's not going to be the same.
Yeah. And I've know some people whose soil is straight up just clay.
Oh yeah, that's the worst one. You
Yeah.
gotta add a whole bunch of lime and everything.
Yeah. So so I could basically just take soil, like just dig a hole essentially, take soil from that, roots and all, put it in a tote with the nature's living soil, and it would just convert it into a living soil, which it already is.
Would yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. It's
yeah,
not really converting anything,
yeah,
it's just adding to at that point. I mean, the only thing is I'd make sure you don't have any non-beneficial insects in there. I would probably add, army of predatory mites and an army of predatory
yeah,
beetles, like your assassin bugs and your pirate beetles.
yeah. Which is essentially how I feel like bag soil is made, anyways. But
Yeah.
it's more on like a big property where they're digging soil up and they're digging. I don't know. I've seen it's. I don't know. There's just piles of and piles that
Yep.
I don't even know what some of the piles are. It's like I don't know. I know one normal soil company, and it's big machinery, humongous piles of soil. It's like I don't even understand the industry almost. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, a good soil company will let you know where they're getting uh sources mined from because
Yeah.
it's you they primarily get them from different types of quarries.
Hmm.
And then of course your darker soils are usually from animal waste.
Yeah. Have you when was the last time you mixed your own?
I actually just recently mixed some,
Oh.
um, and I actually made too much. But I got a tote of fresh stuff that I'm it, leaf clippings and stuff like that. I'm just throwing clippings and stuff like that in there for the time being,
Mm.
um, just to kind of keep it charged up and mixed up.
Yeah.
Um, then of course, like I also have worms in it as well. So I actually have worms in my system as well. It's real funny because a worm will get by into the bell siphon and then make its way into the fish tank, and my my rosy reds, they get a free little treat
I feel
because
like
they'll eat.
yeah,
Huh?
uh I feel like I want to be the person so after this girl when I add the worms in there to the point where I've reused the soil so many times that I'm just on like a new generation of worms. They've just been basically breeding for so long that it's just another generation of worms.
Trust me, it won't. It doesn't take long.
There's just 5 years of worms that have like that's lineage just goes back to 5 years ago when I added those worms.
Well, before I moved, I had soil that was 3, 4 years old that was still going strong. That had worms in it.
The worms' ancestors cultivated
Yeah.
3 years of plants.
Right.
How long do worms live?
Uh, that's a good question. I don't know. Never bothered looking that one up.
Because must be they don't live long if they're reproducing at that speed.
Well, they also slow down once.
Oh,
So they
never
have.
mind. They live up to 10 years.
Oh shoot!
So
Dang.
I guess they're like insects where they just their population grows at massive speeds, which is
Yeah,
good.
they'll grow at massive speeds, but they also most of your beneficial worms they they also will slow down reproduction if they're getting too crowded as well.
Yeah. Oh, you said red wigglers? Yeah,
Yeah,
okay, never mind. Their lifespan's 1 to 5 years.
1 to 5 years.
Yeah. So maybe that's why they reproduce really fast.
Yeah.
But that's a good thing. So,
Oh yeah. Absolutely a good thing.
but is there a point where they could overproduce to the point where your soil's so compact with
Uh,
worms that it's,
I haven't seen it.
or will they die, or will they almost limit their population based on the space they have?
They limit their population based off of space.
Oh, nice. That's
Yeah, so they
cool.
they don't they don't end up overcrowding.
It reminds me of that freaking worm debate. You and that one guy had in the Seedsman server, and he was going off about worms.
Yeah.
It was insane.
Yeah, I remember that.
He was like, actually, you're wrong, because worms originated here. And it's like, okay. Uh, for one, I think you're wrong, but speaking, have you heard anything about the Seedsman server or anything that they're doing?
there's talks about bringing it back up. Um, the last meeting that we had, there was some talks about it. So it is something that they're,
Thinking of?
yeah, thinking of doing. They just got behind on a lot of things due to the economy, and then of course the website issues as well.
Yeah,
So they just kind of got slam hammered and
yeah.
fell behind a little bit. So
You know, the weird thing is that after the server just vanished, it scattered like almost the main people that were in it. It scattered them across servers. So like I'll pop up in a server and I'll be like, "Oh crap, I know that guy from
yeah,
the old Seedsman server." And he's like the owner of the server and stuff. It's weird. It's like a whole community of Discord servers that it's like scattered everywhere.
yeah. Oh yeah, the Seedsman server was huge. It was a ginormous server.
Yeah. And I feel like people in servers don't understand if you're like a mod for the server, you're not getting anything really unless you're like actually staff for Seedsman or for any server. You're not getting like they're not paying you, they're not giving you stuff. And that so
Right?
they think that you're getting stuff for this, so they're like, "Oh, you're a mod. You can't enter in giveaways and you can't do this." And it's like, "What do you mean? I'm volunteering essentially my time to do this and I'm not getting anything for it." Like
Yeah.
in the server I was in, they were talking about how the giveaway was rigged or the raffle was
Oh
rigged
yeah.
because I won. And the thing is that after I won, we picked two other winners because I won. I was like, "What?" Okay. So like when the Seedsman server came up, uh how did they choose who were the mods
um,
or who was the staff? Because I know you weren't originally a staff member. You were
no.
just really
Uh,
helpful in the server.
yeah. So they basically looked at knowledge base, professionalism,
Yeah.
kind of how you handle things under pressure, stuff like that.
Yep.
Um, and then of course the fact that I was real big into organics as well. That kind of was a deciding factor as well because my knowledge base from the get go was pretty substantial. Um, and then of course I also had a drive to help teach other people how to grow, especially
Yeah.
in an organic setting.
Yeah, I think the first time I saw um your profile was in soil and yeah, basically soil and you'd be pinged like all the time. Like that's a question for Helyan and stuff. It's like anytime somebody had a question about soil, that's a question for Helyan.
Yep.
And I can't even remember it. Oh, when I feel when I started messaging you, I think it was when the whole dream thing went down. I think that's when.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's when.
Yes.
And
Golly.
God, I remember it was when I posted about trichomes or something, and I was like, I should be harvesting when trichomes are this percentage. And I remember him asking me, he said, "How do you know? How do you know when you to harvest your plant?" I was like, "What? What do you mean?" Like, I was like, I was like, "What do you mean? I just do it. I've learned, or I don't know. I don't know how to answer that."
Okay, look at the trichomes. Okay.
Like, like he said that he did that to somebody else like a day after that too. I was like, oh my God, he's put me on the spot.
Yeah, he was a odd one to say the least. Like very, very odd.
Yeah, that was something. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, that was something else. That was definitely something else.
Yeah. Yeah, right now, I think I'm on a crap ton of servers. My main two servers are three servers, I guess, are the Growers United server, which is where me, Buzz, Peeper, Valkyries, where we all Xenolith, where we all landed, and then I'm in the Seed Canary server, which is where me and Nick basically do that. But that's really only out of the millions of servers I'm in. That's really the only ones I pay attention to, really.
I got a few that I've landed in
Yeah,
that, they tried to get me to moderate. I was like, no, 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 I'm still moderating other social media platforms.
yeah, yeah.
Like I don't need 15 other ones underneath me.
Yeah. The you do the Seedsman page?
Seedsman Seeds, I do Seedsman Community.
Yeah,
I also help moderate their Twitter and their Instagram as well.
yeah, yeah. The person that's been from Seedsman that helps out so much for me is Anne. She's a really great,
Oh yeah.
really good person. Um, yeah, I've basically been getting stuff from them to do giveaways for people and all that, which my last giveaway was probably my most um active giveaway. Like any giveaway I did before that was like you can't really do fun things with giveaways on Instagram because people won't enter it. Like I tried to do a fun thing last time where take two strains that you like or two strains and you basically make up a name for a cross between them and I'd pick the name based on based on how much I liked your name that you created and I'd pick a like an extra winner. And people just didn't even read that part, honestly. I don't think they
Hmm.
read that part. They just read the part where where it was like comment this and stuff. And I think it's because I've noticed a lot of Instagram pages are just basically there as giveaway enters, just
Yeah,
to enter,
it's either that or there a lot of other ones are bots as well.
which is one of the things that I liked about Nature's Living Soil. And the one of the things that Nature's Living Soil liked about my page is that it wasn't a bunch of reposts or giveaway
Uh,
posts and stuff.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
because then it starts to seem
yeah.
unauthentic.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, I think we should end it here soon. Um, so any last remarks you want to say, or any additional things that you want to say? I guess say it now.
Yeah. Um, that was definitely a fun talk.
Yeah.
Hopefully this gets you started, and hopefully you get a good audience coming in.
Yeah.
And I definitely wish you the best of luck. Uh, and whenever you want to have other talks like this, I'm more than happy to help you out.
Yeah. Um, yeah, next on the podcast should be Nature's Living Soil, but and then I think after that I have somebody lined up. But I have a lot of cool people that I'd like on here, and maybe people I don't really know I'll have on here too. Anybody who really wants to, it's really open to anybody who wants to get their stuff out there. So
Oh yeah, that's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. So
Well, I definitely wish you luck.
yep. So it's all gonna be audio only for now until later. But I'm just gonna put my logo over it, and the podcast will play over my logo. Hopefully, if I can get the editing down. Uh, a lot of software is you have to pay for it, which sucks. I feel like you should just be able to talk and not have to pay
Yeah.
for anything. But yeah, I'll edit this and I should put it out sometime this week, depending on how long
Cool.
editing
Awesome.
takes. But yeah, that's the first episode of CUNDA-CAST with Helyan. It was a good talk. I feel like it's really once you get talking about stuff, it's pretty easy and time flies. But yeah, thank you to anybody who's watching. And yeah, that's it.
Hey, have a wonderful time and stay lifted.
Yep.